शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the Geeta. We are in the third chapter, that is Karma Yoga. And yesterday we read shloka number 39 of Karma Yoga, that is Avrutam Jnanametena Jnanino Nityavairina. Krishna was talking about the role of Kama. Kama means the desire. Desire, quest, a human aspiration, human ambition. All these things can be brought under the word desire. Because every human action, without any exception, every human action is motivated by some desire. We want something and then we take up some action. So all human actions are motivated by that desire. And these desires are multifarious. They may be material desires, they may be physical desires, various types of desires. So when a person is when a person is in quest of all these things, naturally he will lose sight of the higher purpose, the higher goal in life, the higher objective in life, that is to know the meaning of his own life. So that higher objective he forgets. So that is what Krishna was saying. Avrutam jnanametena. So jnanam is something which has been covered, which has been enveloped by this kama. And that is the reason why a jnani treats this kama as an enemy. Jnanino nityavairina. A jnani treats this kama as an enemy. So that is what is the story of Kama Dahanam. Yesterday I was telling you the symbolism in the story of Kama Dahanam. So after that, now the next shloka, 40th shloka, let us see. In this shloka, Krishna wants to tell us rather, as to where exactly is this Kama located. Is it the property of the individual? Is it the property of the self? Or in the self also there are so many layers. For example, there is a mind, there is prana sharira, there is what is called a stula sharira, that is what is called manomaya kosha, etc., etc. Where exactly is this Kama located? So he wants to tell us as to what exactly is the location of Kama. If it is your own personality, you can't get over it. If it is not your personality, it is something which is coming to you and going, then you can certainly shake it off. You can certainly avoid it. So in order to tell that Kama is something which is not a part of your personality, Krishna is saying as to what exactly is the locus or what exactly is the basis for this Kama. So he says, I am reading this shloka number 40. Indriyani mano buddhirasya muchyate. Indriyani mano buddhirasya muchyate. Eta irvimohayatyesha jnanam avrutya dehinam. So he says, Indriyani manaha buddhihi asya adhishthanam muchyate. That is, Kamasya adhishthanam. That is, where exactly is Kama stationed? Or where exactly is it based? It is based in the Indriya, mind and buddhi. Indriya means the sense organs. So I look at something beautiful and immediately the sense organ likes it. Indriyani, indriyasya arthe ragadvesha. We saw earlier that every indriya, there is an indriya sense object. And for every indriya in the sense object, there is either a like or dislike. Suppose I look at some beautiful thing. I immediately want it. So I convey that to the mind. And the mind again process it, and then my mind again says, yes, I do want it. Then again it is for the buddhi. Buddhi is something which is supposed to be the discriminating faculty. And that discriminating faculty, if that also is carried away by the indriyas and mind, then naturally a man is gone. But if the buddhi says, no, it is not like that, it is not correct, that is not the right thing to pursue, it is not so. So every indriya has some indriya object, that is sense object. I smell something, I want it. Or I taste something, I want it. So all the 5 sense organs, they do need sense objects. And the mind again, sometimes the mind has to control. If the mind doesn't control, the buddhi has to control. So that is what happens. So indriyani mano buddhihi asya adhisthana muchyate. So this locus, the basis, or rather the place where this Kama is located, is the indriyas, mind and buddhi. Why is Krishna saying this? Because Vedanta draws a distinction between the mind and your real self. We naturally, what is our self? When we think about our own nature, who am I? The basic question in Vedanta is, who am I? And if I pose the question, then what does Vedanta say? What does the normal man say? First of all, normal man says, okay, I am so and so. I will give out my name. I will give my social background. I will give my educational qualifications. And I will also tell about my various other accomplishments. I tell about my accomplishments and all that. Okay, that makes up my personality. But this is what I am. But Vedanta says that is not so. You kindly think about it. The mind, what exactly is the mind? Mind is a collection of various impressions which have taken place in it right from the time of your birth. Right from the time of your birth, you have experienced, so you had so many interactions, so many experiences. All these experiences, they have left some sort of indelible impressions, what are called samskaras, or what otherwise called vasanas. A bundle of all those things, and also a lot of information. I know a friend, I know X, Y, Z, etc., etc. I know whether I like them or not. So all these impressions, all this information, that is this bundle of information and impressions, that is what constitutes the mind. In fact, there is a definition for this mind in one Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It says, Kamas, Sankalpo, Vichikitsa, Shraddha, Ashraddha, Dhrutihi, Adhrutihi, etc., etc. There is a long list. Kama means desire. Sankalpa means when you look at something, you have a fancy about it. That fancying about a thing is what is called Sankalpa. Samyak Kalpana. That is fancying about a thing is what is Sankalpa. That is what we call Shobhanadhyasa. There is a technical word also for that. Kama Sankalpa, Vichikitsa, that is to try to examine whether it is right or wrong. That is the faculty of what is called the buddhi. That is, buddhi is something which tries to know whether something is right or wrong. That is a discriminating faculty. That is what is called buddhi. And then dhrutihi. Dhruti means determination. Adhruti, lack of determination. Shraddha means devotion, let us say. Shraddha is a very complicated word. Let's say loosely we can translate it as okay, faith or devotion. Ashraddha, lack of that devotion. So all these things, etat sarvam manayeva, that is what Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says. Etat sarvam manaha eva. That is, all these things, they constitute the mind. Mind means it is a bundle of all these impressions, bundle of all these experiences, desires, ambitions and whatnot. All these things. Then who are you? Then what exactly is your real nature? Your real nature, Vedanta says, all these things, they all relate to the body-mind complex. They are all part and parcel of the body-mind complex. You are not that. Your essential nature is that pure knower or Chaitanyam, the pure Chaitanyam, which is reflecting in the Antahkarana, which is activating your Antahkarana, which is making your body-mind complex to function. So that is your real nature. Not only your real nature, that is the nature of all the beings. That Chaitanya, Shuddha Chaitanyam or pure consciousness, what we call Brahman. You are not different from that. Essentially speaking, you are that. But unfortunately, you are forgetting your real nature and you are identifying yourself with this body-mind complex and thinking that you are a very, very little person. So that is what Vedanta says. So in order to tell that, Krishna is making some sort of base to convey all that. He is saying that all this karma is something which is not your part and parcel of your personality. You can certainly get rid of it because karma, where is this located? It is located in your indriyas, it is located in your mind, it is located in your buddhi, and all these things, they are not yourself. And we are going to see in the 13th chapter, there is a distinction between what is called kshetra and kshetrajna. Kshetra means, the normal meaning of kshetra also holds good here. Kshetra means a field. Suppose I own a particular some acre of land, let us say, and that is my field. That is my field where I go, I cultivate, and then I sow seeds, I irrigate that land, etc. That is my field. But I say it is my field. I am the knower of that field. I am not that field. Kshetra is different from kshetrajna. Kshetrajna means the person who knows it. So the I, the real I, which is actually seeing what is happening to the senses, what is happening to the mind, and what is happening to the buddhi, I can observe all these things. I can be aloof and I can observe how my mind is functioning. So mind is something which can be observed. So mind is something, in other words, it can be objectified. That is Vishaya. It is a Vishaya. It can also be objectified. It can be distinguished from me. So my real self, that intelligence or Chaitanya which is illumining all these things, this Antahkarana, is the real self. So Krishna is going to say, Etair vimohayatyesha jnanam avrutya dehinam. So all these things, all these etaihi, by all these things, the senses, mind, buddhi, all these things, that is the adhishtanam, that is the base for this karma. And All these things put together, they are actually enveloping your jnana. That is, enveloping jnana means enveloping your ability to know your own self. That is, they are not allowing a person to know about his own self, because every time you are in touch with the external world, every time you are exposed to the external things, and then you are seeing and there you are desiring them, and then you are fascinated by them, enchanted by them. So that is what is happening. Etair vimohayetyesha, vimohayeti. That is, all these things, they enchant a person. And jnanam avrutya dehinam, dehi. Dehi is another word. Dehi means a person who has deha is dehi. All of us have deha. But why is that word significant? Dehi means dehatma bhimanavan. A person who thinks that this body-mind complex is me, it is my real self. That is, he is what is called dehi. So a person who is identifying himself with the body-mind complex, he is somebody whose mind is covered, whose jnanam is totally covered by indriya, mana, mind and buddhi. And a person is guided by them. He is actually guided by them. In fact, karma is just an aspect of that mind, and we are supposed to control the mind, and instead of that, we are guided by the mind. So that is what this shloka says. Then we come to the next shloka. Next shloka says, then what is the logical follow-up? If karma is not something which is a part and parcel of your personality, and if karma is something which pertains to the mind, buddhi and indriyas, then what is it you are supposed to do? You are supposed to get rid of it, because it is an obstacle in the path of jnana. So that is what he is saying in the next shloka. That is 41st shloka. Tasmat tvam indriyanyadau niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihyenam jnana vijnana nashanam. So he says, Tasmat tvam indriyani adau niyamya. Adau, in the very beginning, first of all, the very first step we have to take is to do that niyamanam. Niyama, ni plus yama. Ni is only an upasarga. Upasarga means a prefix. Yama means to control. Lord Yama, we know. Lord Yama is the man who is said to be the person who controls everything, controls the behavior. Yama. And in fact, Yama is one step in Patanjali Yoga Sutra also. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama. In fact, Yama is Bahyendriya Nigraha Yamaha. That is what is the definition of Yama. That is controlling the external sense organs. That is what is called Yama. And controlling the inner organ, that is the mind. That is what is called Yama Niyama. So here, Indriyani Adav Niyamya. You are supposed to control. You are supposed to control them by. How can you control them? There are two ways of controlling. You have to lock yourself up in a room, and you should not be exposed to anything. That is one way. Totally sit in total seclusion, isolation, lock yourself up, and then you are chaste. Otherwise, when you are moving, the second way is you may be actively interacting with the world, but at the same time, whenever you encounter, whenever you come across these things, you have to rationally think. You have to see. You have to analyze. What are the pros and cons? What is good? What is bad? So the buddhi is supposed to come into picture. So that is the reason why this Kathopanishad says, Indriyani hayanahuhu. The human body, the entire body-mind complex, and Atma. Atma is the self. Let us say Atma is the self. Atmanam rathinam vidhi. Atma is the something who is the person who is the boss, the boss who is there in that chariot. And the person who is the horses. What are the horses? The body is the ratham. The body is the ratham, is a chariot. What are the horses? The five senses are supposed to be the horses. And what is the reins? The horses. In fact, the driver or charioteer, he holds the reins. And what are the reins? Reins are supposed to be the mind. Indriyani hayanahu. Then manah pragrahavan naraha. Manah pragrahavan. Mana is the mind, is the pragraha. Pragraha, in Telugu we call it paggam. Telugu word paggam is the Sanskrit word pragraha, prakruti, and paggam is vikruti. So manah pragrahavan naraha. The mind is supposed to be the pragraha. And buddhim to sarathim vidhi. Buddhi is supposed to be the sarathi. Like Lord Krishna is the sarathi for Arjuna. Then who is the sarathi in this body-mind complex? Buddhi. Buddhi is that discriminating faculty that is supposed to restrain, that is supposed to control the horses, that is supposed to direct the horses in the right way and not in the wrong way. Otherwise, the horses, they will drag, they will lead you to wherever they want. So we are not supposed to be guided by the horses. We are supposed to be guided by the buddhi. So indriyanyadavu niyamya bharatarshava. That is how to do this niyantrana. This niyantrana, okay, I am saying, okay, you Krishna is saying, okay, you have to do niyantrana. I am also saying you have to do niyantrana. How to do this niyantrana? So this is something which has to be practiced. This is something which has to be practiced by all of us. That is by way of, as I said, viveka. Viveka is something which is going to lead to vairagya. Vairagya is what? Ragam means attachment. Viraga means vigataha ragaha. V plus ragaha. Vigataha ragaha means where you are detached from that. The opposite of attachment is detachment. So that is viraga. Viragasya bhavaha vairagya. That is a person who is having that sense of detachment. He is said to be having that vairagyam. And he is a person who is having a viragi. So that vairagyam, how can that come? Vairagyam can come only with proper viveka, which viveka means proper examination, proper discrimination, like what we see in books like Viveka Chudamani. There is a book called Viveka Chudamani by Shankaracharya. So it is an excellent book. For example, it is a book having about 580 shlokas. So in that book, Shankaracharya describes as to what exactly almost the entire summary of Vedanta is contained in all those 580 shlokas. And there, the emphasis is on the sadhana. Sadhana means how a person has to go about it. The emphasis is not on the theory. Theory, okay, anybody can tell the theory. If you go to the Upanishads tell the theory. Of course, Upanishads tell the sadhana also. But more elaborately, we need a teacher who tells us as to how to do it. So theory is okay. Theory, okay, Brahma is there and that Brahma Chaitanyam is something which is reflecting in all of us and I am not different from that Brahman. I am that Brahman. In other words, Aham Brahmasmi, etc., etc. I may theoretically say, but I may not be practically experiencing it. If I want to experience it, I have to totally neutralize my mind. I have to totally purify my mind. And all that purification is it is possible only when I am able to control this indriyani, this gurra, this what we call horses. These horses I have to control. And the mind I have to control. The mind, the pragraha, the reins have to be very firmly held by the brain, by the buddhi. Tasmatvam indriyanyadav niyamya bharatarshava. So this practice of, for example, in Geeta also is telling about karma yoga. What we read about karma yoga. Karma yoga is one way to purify the mind. Then after this, next thing we are going to see, say jnana yoga, etc. We are going to see jnana yoga, dhyana yoga. Dhyana means that meditation. Then atma sanyama yoga, that is self-restraint, etc. So these are all various steps. And Viveka is the most important step. Viveka means the discrimination, analysis, examination. That is dosha darshanam. Vedanta also uses another word called dosha darshanam. That is, when you are desiring a particular thing, then what are the doshas in that? Dosha means what are the defects in that? Defects, okay, this is something which is ephemeral. This is not something which is permanent. This is something which is going to ultimately lead us to some grief. You may enjoy it now, but later it is going to lead to grief. So that is what is called dosha darshana. So Vedanta uses this strategy of dosha darshana in order to encourage detachment, in order to encourage or in order to generate vairagya in a person. For example, if you want to have examples of this are found in Bhaja Govindam. For example, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudhamate. So there he says, okay, kate kanta, kaste putraha. So all this, he says, okay, all these things, what is a wife, what is a son, what is what are the human relationships? Human relationships are so transitory. They just come and go. And in fact, Rama, in Ramayana, he says that human relationships are like the driftwood which comes together in the flow of a current. Suppose the life is compared to a stream, life is compared to a river. And in that river, lot many driftwood will be there, lot of driftwood will be there. Two logs of driftwood, they just come together, they stay for a while and then get separated. So all human relationships are so transitory, he says. So like that dosha darshana is one of the strategies. By that dosha darshana, you have to control these indriyas, you have to restrain the indriyas from the sense objects, and then you have to kill, prajahi hyenam, you destroy. Destroy what? Destroy this kama. Why? Because it is jnana, vijnana, nashanam. This is something which is going to destroy your jnana. It is going to destroy your vijnana. So for these words jnana and vijnana, we are going to see Krishna is going to give very elaborate definitions later, but tentatively we can know that jnanam is something theoretical jnanam, and vijnanam is getting it into experience. So this kama is something which does not allow you either to have jnana or to have vijnana. Only when after having a jnana only, then vijnana takes place. Vijnana is experiencing it, experiencing that he is not different from Brahman. So that is what we see in this shloka, and we'll continue next. Harihi Om Tat Sat.